Hello, and welcome to our First Link education session for family care partners. Our education series is broken down into four modules, each focusing on a particular stage within the dementia journey. This is Module 4, Life Has Changed, What is Next? In today's session, we will look at when will I need help? And we'll go over some questions that you can ask yourself to help guide this thinking. We'll then look at support and services that are available to help you when you have identified that you do need additional support. We'll look at the importance of planning ahead, and then we'll finish off with end-of-life care. As dementia progresses, caring for your family member will become more difficult due to some major shifts in communication. So problems understanding others or expressing own thoughts and needs, anxiety, restlessness, and sleep disturbances. So think back to Module 2 when we discussed responsive behaviors. These symptoms may be resulting from underlying emotions of frustration, boredom, confusion, and anger. We can see a decrease in memory, so difficulty recognizing people, remembering events, and misplacing things. Changes within personality, so sudden mood shifts or behaviors that they didn't have in the past may become more prominent. We can see paranoia or delusions, so they may see, hear, or feel things that aren't real, but it feels real to them. And we can see increased physical care, so help is needed consistently with activities of everyday life. Incontinence may occur, disorientation in time and space will become more apparent, and wandering may become a concern. Remember that not all people with dementia will experience these symptoms, but some will. The type of symptoms, the severity of the behavior, and your own skills and coping ability will help you decide what types of support and caregiving options may work best for you at a particular time. Caregiving for somebody with dementia can be overwhelming at times, and these questions are a good guideline to help you decide when you need help. When making a decision about care for your family member, consider, is safety an issue? Is there wandering or are we leaving stovetops on? Is space an issue? Is a walker or a wheelchair needed? And is there sufficient space in the home for mobility? What are your personal care skills? Bathing, lifting, managing finances, managing medication, feeding, guarding against bed sores? Do you need grab bars installed or special transportation requirements if somebody's in a wheelchair? Consider your emotions: loss of companionship, role reversal, loss of friends, independence, increased isolation. And balance. Do you have other responsibilities to children, spouse, friends or grandchildren, and relatives? Will someone or other parts of your life be neglected if you devote all to your family member? And your job. Are you able to take a leave of absence, or do you have flexible work hours? Are you able to continue to work? And finances. Can you afford to hire help? Live-in care or part-time care? Pay for specialized services? It is important that if a friend offers to help in some way that you accept that help, and you can't do it all on your own. You need to build that circle of support. Knowing to seek help before your health and well-being becomes seriously affected is the critical piece. Home support services are provided through PEI Home Care based on an assessment of need. They include a range of support services aimed at preventing early admission into a long-term care facility. Services can include things like personal care, so assistance with activities of daily living, including bathing, walking, transferring, feeding, and toileting, which allows the individual to remain in their home safely. Home support, Services assessed as necessary to enable an individual to remain at home in a safe and acceptable environment. And these can include things like meal preparation, laundry, and essential household tasks. Community supports, which assist families and the community in identifying and developing or maintaining necessary services and supports. And then there's respite, which provides relief for the caregiver. The home care staff member will meet with you and discuss your personal situation and complete an assessment. The health assessment lists your daily care requirements and helps staff determine what level of care you and the individual with dementia may be. Home care staff may suggest certain services like respite care that could allow you to stay in your home longer if that's what you wish. The staff person can also explain what type of facilities meet best the level of need. If a nursing home or long-term care facility is what you require, staff will use the assessment to begin the application process for long-term care. Respite care is short-term temporary relief to those who are caring for family members who might otherwise require placement in a long-term care facility. It allows a break for the caregiver to attend their own health needs or other responsibilities and provides them with a break from the 24-hour, 7 caregiving role. An assessment is done by home care to determine the level of in-home respite needed, which is based on a scale of 1 to 5. The higher the number, the more assistance you need. There are 3 types of respite. There's in-home respite, where a worker comes into your home and provides respite in that manner. There's care facility respite. This form of respite offers a supportive environment and structured activities to meet the needs and abilities of individuals with dementia. In addition, it offers a break for the family member or caregiver. Brecken House at PE Home in Charlottetown offers a day program which offers day respite. And there's private respite, things like Home Instead. Because the disease will progress, caregivers must plan ahead and periodically reassess how best to provide care for their family member and meet their own needs over the course of the disease. The decision to move into a long-term care facility or community care is an emotionally complex one. By considering at what point or in what circumstances care outside of the home may be needed, the primary caregiver can plan ahead and avoid some of the stresses of the process. On PEI, we have public facilities, and these are government-run and publicly funded facilities. We have private facilities, so a private long-term care facility, which is privately owned and operated with 5 or more residents and is licensed by the Community Care Facilities and Nursing Home Board. There's community care, which is licensed community care facilities. It's privately owned and operated, established with 5 or more residents. These facilities provide services such as housekeeping, meals, assistance with grooming and hygiene. 24-hour care may or may not be available at these facilities, and it's typically not. Paying the cost of accommodations is the responsibility of the individual, though financial assistance may be available on a limited basis in certain circumstances. And then there's long-term care. Most of the individuals who live in long-term care have multiple complex diagnoses, and the most common being dementia, stroke, diabetes, and all require a high level of nursing care that can no longer be provided at home or in community care facilities. Admission to long-term care facilities is based on a coordinated assessment and a priority needs process. It is difficult to predict what the particular needs of our family member will be or exactly when care may be needed. One thing is sure, the sooner you begin your research and planning, the better prepared you will be to know what options exist. In PEI, residents in a care facility are responsible to pay for accommodation, which is room and board, and all personal expenses. The government pays for nursing and personal care for the staff. Now we're going to look at suggestions for you if your family member is living in a care home. It is so helpful to get to know the staff. Who are the ones that are providing care? Who is all part of the circle of support? Provide any background information that you have. This will be invaluable for staff when they go to provide care. It's helpful to learn the daily routines, programs, and services at the facility, and you can become part of any of the programs and activities. It really is important that you prioritize needs and concerns, and you have realistic expectations of the staff and of the care home. It is helpful to use open-ended questions when talking with staff, and this will allow us to gain more information than closed-ended. When talking with staff, specifically if there is concerns, it really is important that we check our own emotions and make sure we're aware of what we're bringing. We always want to focus on the person living with dementia, and we need to keep an open mind. The care may be different than the care you provided, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means it's different. It's really about working together with the staff at the facility to find the best possible care for the person living with dementia. You're all working together for the person with dementia. For each person, the definition of quality of life is different and deeply personal. As Alzheimer's disease or related dementia progresses, a person will lose many of the abilities considered important to maintaining a high quality of life. Some people think that quality of life is lost once a person is diagnosed with dementia. An individual's quality of life is definitely affected by dementia, but we can strive to keep them comfortable even as the disease progresses into the final stage. When a person with Alzheimer's disease is in the very late stages of the disease, the focus should be on quality of life and comfort rather than length of life and treatment. So now we're just going to spend a little bit of time talking about who we are at the Alzheimer Society so you know what's available to support you on this dementia journey. Our mission is to alleviate the personal and social consequences of Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, as well as promoting the search for a cause and a cure. My colleagues and I always say that if we work ourselves out of a job, we'll be happy. There are 4 pillars to the services that we provide at the Alzheimer Society of PEI. There is research, advocacy, programs, and services. The Alzheimer Society is involved with a number of research projects nationwide. Locally, we offer an annual UPEI Research Award and participate in the AIRS initiative. Nationally, we support a number of researchers focused on biomedical advances and improving the quality of life through the Alzheimer Society Research Program. For advocacy, we were part of the National Dementia Strategy. Provincially, we have been advocating for a provincial dementia strategy for many years and have recently been involved in the development of the Seniors Health and Wellness Strategy. We have been working to promote dementia-friendly communities throughout Prince Edward Island. We also have an active presence on social media and printed media to help raise awareness and educate the public on Alzheimer's disease and related dementia. We offer programs and services available to individuals and families affected by Alzheimer's disease and related dementias, and they include First Link, which is a referral-based program where healthcare professionals can refer caregivers and family members directly to us for case management, education, and follow-up calls. Family members are also able to self-refer into this program as well. We offer a Brain Fitness Fun program, or BFF, which is an 8-week program with 1 hour of physical exercise 1 hour of social and cognitive activity, and it occurs in community spaces across the province. We have our Medical Alert Safely Home program. We have partnered with Medical Alert to offer ID bracelets for people living with dementia. Their info is registered into a 24-hour hotline, which helps them return home safely if they wander or become lost. And finally, we offer a volunteer companion program. Volunteers are matched with people living with dementia for weekly visits to engage in meaningful social activity. For services, we offer support groups. We offer caregiver support groups throughout the province. We meet in Charlottetown, Summerside, and Montague. Groups can be formed in other areas if there is enough interest as well. We offer individual and family counseling related to living with dementia or care partnering. We have so many resources available, both in electronic and paper format, on a variety of topics related to dementia and caregiving. We offer a quarterly newsletter that gets sent out, and this allows us to share news and events and other information on a regular basis. If you would like to subscribe to this newsletter, please let us know and we can add you to our list. And then, of course, we fundraise. We have many regular events throughout the year to raise funds, which allows us to keep our programs and services free of charge for individuals and families affected by the disease. I wanted to highlight the Medical Alert Safely Home program. The Medical Alert ID and services was originally created to help medics treat people quickly who couldn't speak for themselves. Today, the service can also help individuals with dementia who go missing. Safely Home is a nationwide program where personal information and a hotline number is engraved on a medical alert bracelet, and that is worn on a full-time basis by the individual living with dementia. Should the individual ever go missing, first responders can quickly identify them by calling the Medical Alert 24-hour emergency line. The emergency hotline specialist immediately contacts family members and caregivers to let them know the situation and locate their family member to reduce anxiety for everyone. So now we're going to shift our focus a little bit and look at the importance of early planning and planning for the future. Our goal is to help motivate you to start thinking about personal planning now so that you know where to get the information and supports later. Making sound decisions will eventually become more difficult for an individual living with dementia as a result of disease progression. Therefore, we need to ensure that measures are put in place while the individual with dementia still has legal competency to make decisions. There are many benefits of early planning. The individual with dementia is involved in the decision-making process as they should be. It's part of their care. It allows the individual with dementia to retain dignity and respect. By making early plans, it ensures sound decisions are being made. It helps protect the assets someone has. And it ensures the transfer of responsibilities is given to the person that the person with dementia is intending it to. Most people are not comfortable about making plans for a time when they will be unable to make decisions and have control of their own lives. Discussing personal values in relation to illness and death, finances and living arrangements, for example, is difficult. But silence on these issues can result in people being denied the opportunity to express and even realize their wishes about their own care. While able to make decisions, people should be encouraged to discuss their choices and who their substitute decision maker will be. Family members and substitute decision makers should be aware of what the person's values are and how they define quality of life. Discussion of these matters helps give the person a sense of control over future decisions and provides support and reassurance to the future substitute decision maker. Everyone should have plans in place for their future. Advanced care planning is not just important for seniors and people with dementia, but for all of us. Try approaching the subject by explaining that you are beginning to make plans for yourself and you're curious if your family member has any in place of their own. suggest making these together if they don't, after all. Alzheimer's and other dementias cause changes that affect a person's ability to drive a motor vehicle safely. However, a diagnosis of dementia does not automatically mean that a person is incapable of driving. Some people may be capable of driving safely for some time after the diagnosis, depending on the timing of the diagnosis and the rate of the disease progression. However, eventually a person with dementia must stop driving and it will no longer be safe. Family members and caregivers often find it difficult to suggest that a person with dementia stop driving. They may fear that bringing attention to an individual's loss of ability and the need to stop driving may create difficulties within the relationship. Restricting or stopping the person with dementia from driving may threaten a person's independence and sense of freedom, and therefore how and when to insist that a person stop driving is a difficult issue for individuals with dementia, family members, doctors, and other members of the healthcare team. Throughout the course of the disease, driving skills and abilities must be monitored. All medical practitioners on PEI are required to report any individual who has a medical condition that may make it dangerous for them to drive a motor vehicle safely, and they need to report this to Highway Safety Division. On the slide is a list of numbers that you can call with regards to financial questions. I encourage you to reach out to these supports if you have any specific questions that you need assistance with. In Module 3 of our First Link Education series, we talked about person-centered care. The concept of participation encompasses the choice and decisions an individual with dementia makes in conjunction with their family members. Decision-making is the first directed by the individual with dementia with the assistance from the family members. Your knowledge of the person with dementia can guide you in how you offer choices and allow participation in the decision-making. However, there are times when adults can be declared mentally incompetent if there is clear medical evidence they are unable to take care of themselves. This is a legal designation, and it needs to be completed by healthcare professionals. It is not completed by family members. For an individual to be declared incompetent, two physicians must sign a certificate of incompetency. A power of attorney is a legal document in which you can give another person the power to handle your financial and property affairs. It doesn't include your wishes for health care or treatment. This must be done in a healthcare directive. So who should you name as an attorney? It obviously has to be somebody that you trust. Sometimes it's a spouse or a partner, a friend or a family member, but it can be a lawyer, an accountant, or a trusted company. Sometimes people will choose to appoint two attorneys to share the decision-making responsibility. This can be beneficial for the attorneys, but if they have trouble agreeing on decisions, this can add difficulties. If you decide to appoint more than one attorney, select people who work well together. A healthcare directive is a document that explains your wishes about healthcare and treatment in case you are unable to make decisions or communicate them at a future time. It allows you to name a proxy, which is someone who can make healthcare decisions for you on your behalf in the event that your healthcare directive does not cover a future treatment that might be required. A lawyer is able to help you prepare a directive so that you reduce any likelihood of confusion for your future proxy. and healthcare team. Proxies are someone you can name to make your healthcare decisions for you. They would make them when you are not able to make or communicate those decisions yourself, and when your directive does not address the situation. Your proxy doesn't need to be a family member, but they have to be 18 years or older, and they have to have the capacity to make the healthcare decision in question. You may name more than one proxy if you wish, and these can be joint or alternate proxies. You should appoint somebody that you trust, and you need to discuss your treatment wishes completely and clearly with all proxies. If your proxies know your wishes, they must act according to them. If they do not know your wishes, they must act according to what they believe is in your best interest. A will is a legal written document that leaves instructions about a person's wants, what a person wants done with their assets when they pass away. Making a will is the only way to make sure the court knows how you want your property and possessions passed on after you have passed away. When you make a will, you are called a testator. When a person appoints to carry out the instructions of the will, it is called the executor. You need to appoint someone that you trust, and if possible, somebody with business knowledge. They will then gather all of your assets, pay funeral expenses and any debts, any taxes that are owed, and distribute your assets in according to your will. Some people appoint more than one executor, allowing them to act together or as co-executors. Every client should have at least one alternative for any of their appointments in the event that the first appointed is not able to fulfill the responsibility. A will usually ensures that your estate is distributed much more quickly and inexpensively than if you did not have a will. As we plan for the future, we may want to have a discussion about what the person with dementia may want at their funeral. Do they want a funeral? What kind of services do they want? Are there things that they want or don't want that may be part of their memorial service? Funerals can help us confirm the reality and the finality of death. They're one of the few times that love is given and not expected in return. It's a vehicle for the community to pay its respects. It allows the sorrow of one to become the sorrow of many. It provides a climate for mourning and the expression of grief. And it can encourage the affirmation of religious faith. End-of-life care is a term used to describe supports and medical care given during the time surrounding death. Dying is a unique experience for each person, coming in its own time and in its own way. However, the process often follows a somewhat predictable path, and there are a number of physiological changes that signal that death is near. Knowing what to expect during this difficult time can lessen some of the fears and apprehensions. There is a range of life-prolonging medical care available for people in the terminal stages of a disease. When and if to use these measures depends on the type of medical care that the person has specified, or if directives have not been given, the best decision based on the individual's values and desires. If one decides not to use extreme measures to prolong life, that does not mean that we will withhold all treatment. Palliative or comfort care focuses on the whole person's needs, physical, emotional, and spiritual. The goal of palliative care should be to provide comfort, quality of life, dignity, and paid control. It is good to be aware of the specific programs and resources that are available to you and your family that you're able to access during the end of life. To wrap up this module, we will be left with some advice from a person living with dementia. Give me time and space to keep me doing as much as I can. Don't take over. Let me make mistakes or fail, but don't let me feel like a failure. Help me to not give up. If I see or smell things that aren't there, don't try to persuade me they aren't. For me, they are real. Comfort me and let me know that you understand. And although you can't see or smell it, know that I do. Give me time to speak. Wait for me to find the word I want to use. Try not to finish my sentence. Just listen and don't let me feel embarrassed if I lose the thread of what I say. This takes us to the end of Module 4. In summary, we've identified that there are supports and services available that can assist with care depending on the level of need. The Alzheimer Society of PEI is here to help you on your journey with the Alzheimer's disease and related dementia journey. It's so important to plan ahead to ensure that the person living with dementia's wishes are expressed and understood. And planning ahead helps reduce stress for family members and care partners. On the slide is a list of additional resources. These resources are available on our website, www.alzpei.ca, or you can give us a call and we can mail these out to you, 902-628-2257. Thank you for completing the First Link education session. Please know that we at the Alzheimer Society are here to help you. You are not alone. If you have questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to give us a call.